Steps up the break-off frame, number 7. It's a race to 9. At the moment, you can't separate the man from Stoke and the young Frenchman. Potts still not got a ball off the break, or has he? No, the yellow has rattled.
Table.
Very much the same as Phil Harrison in the last quarter-final. I mean, he's hitting the pack hard enough, and I bet he can't really believe it.
No, as you know, I was out in the middle for that one, Tony, and like I say, the balls were split and we just couldn't get one. I think there was a little ironic cheer from the crowd about 9 or 10 frames in when I think it was the first ball that was made in the whole game.
Well, I had Lee Kendall in the commentary box with me at the time when we were both blaming you for racking the balls badly.
Well, I thought you'd have done that, Tony, but I think I can be exonerated from that because Darren Appleton virtually every time looked at that pack and gave it the nod, so it was nothing to do with me.
Well, just look at the open table now for Beaufils. Once again, Beaufils has got a great opportunity to take the frame from this visit.
Yeah, and he's, as I say, it's a seesaw match because, if you like, it's like tennis where they're breaking each other's serve. Each time one of them breaks, doesn't pot a ball, they're the other one stepping in and taking the frame.
Seconds.
I'll tell you what, Laurent, how many pieces of chalk do you think Yannick Beaufils actually goes through in a whole pool season? Because if you look at him, he must have chalked that cue 20 times around the table then.
You're right, it's probably getting through a few boxes a year.
It must cost him a fortune.
Yeah, that's always been a feature of Yannick as well. I remember a couple of years ago we said we've seen different break styles and different actions from Yannick over the year. I think a couple of seasons ago what he was doing is he'd chalk his cue maybe sort of 15-20 times, and each time he'd have a little blow on the chalk just to blow it away, and then he'd chalk it again and blow it and chalk it away and blow it. It was just incredible to watch at times. I think he spent about 30 seconds of his minute doing that.
And I just think this is one of his mannerisms again, Laurent, isn't it? That he does. It's like again like his break-off ritual. When he's actually at the table, he's got another ritual where he chalks, blows in the chalk. Yeah,
I think you're exactly right when you use the word, ritual. That's exactly, he's putting himself into the pressure, into position.
That's right. That's his match mode, if you like. Beaufils now. A simple task of just depositing these yellows. He's just giving you the guided tour around the table of the route he wants to take. It all depends now on the preference, because he's got the 2 yellows at one on each rail at the bottom of the table. It just boils down to his preference of which one he wants to take first. Either way really should be pretty simple.
Yeah, you can guarantee, Tony, if we'll sit here and say, well, I think he'll take the left-hand one first, he'll definitely take the right-hand one. So, like I say, I think we'll sit here and just watch him and let him decide which way he's going to go. Looks like he's close to that red that he's leaning over.
And again, if Yannick goes and clears this table, we can realize how important the break is. And it could be quite frustrating if players could not pot balls at the break.
Very good point, that, Laurent. The break, often regarded as the most important shot in this World Pool.
Yeah, I think we've seen that now, Tony, that more and more players now are actually practicing that break shot, whereas before it was only 1 or 2. I know Chris Mellon was practicing his break shot 2 or 3 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago he was doing that, and it's caught on now. Other people have actually realised how big the shot is. I think Gareth's probably sat in his chair now thinking that if I can get out of this 4-4, then at the interval I'll be really happy.
It's just a big shot now for Beaufils. He's played that very well indeed. Great cueing from the Frenchman. Just now got to play a good positional shot now onto the 8.
Again, he's going to have to be very careful. He's reaching down the table for this last yellow. He's got those 2 reds at the top of the table. I'm sure our referee Kevin Armitage will be close in there, giving it his full attention here with his waistcoat.
Well, he's very, very close to it now. Does he like using the rest? I'm not sure if Yannick's a great rest player, is he? Laurent?
Well, I'm not sure neither. Actually, he does play with quite a short stick. His cue is quite
Time
short,
running.
and playing with the rest might not be quite easy for him.
30 seconds.
Yeah, I noticed he does like to, well, he does prefer to stretch right across the table and play with the rest, and you can see different type of style to the likes of Melling and Appleton, who are very confident with the rest.
This is a big shot in this match, Tony.
And there it's happened, and that's all down to not being able to practice with the rest often enough. And it's cost him. And not only has he missed the yellow, he's left it safe as well, as you can see it going off the two jaws and along the bottom rail. Less pressure now on Potts to take out this finish.
Yeah, he's actually caught that thick, and it's hit the...
Well, fortunately for Gareth Potts, that yellow had gone safe. Well, it's Beaufils now, and he's in a lot of trouble, even though Potts did let him come back to the table. As you can see, you can only just see the thin edge of this yellow, and I think he's just got to try and hit this full ball and leave the... Oh, he tried to bash it around the table.
Well, I tell you what, Tony, where I come from, that's called a Sydney slam. Because that's what you do when you're in trouble. You just get down and can launch it round the table.
A Sydney slam, eh, Sean?
Named after the famous Sydney Arms pool team.
And I should get a plug in there. But anyway, it's Potts, the man with the opportunity. We've seen Beaufils have his bite at the cherry. And now Potts. Really, you've got to expect the Englishman now to knock these in. Give himself that lead back again. He just wants to be very sure of this. He's taken a little bit of extra time now.
Yeah, thinking that one, it's just sort of knocked him out of his stride a little bit, missing that ball into the top pocket in the previous visit. I think, as I say, he's just taking those extra few seconds just to compose himself. Although he's got down rather quickly on this one, having said that. So he stroked that in nicely.
We can see the confidence returning again to Potts with every shot. Now he's just got to get on these two reds in the middle of the table. He's probably going to leave the one over the left-hand centre till last. Gains him easy position onto the black.
Yeah, that was an excellent shot there. He's just left himself a little bit awkward bridging over that yellow, but he's left himself almost perfect just to knock this into the right-hand centre, as you say. That ball on the... Oh, is he looking at taking the one into the left-hand centre first? No, I don't think so. He'll knock that in and leave himself a simple black, as you say, to put himself into the lead in this match.
And here we go. Just going to dribble this red into the centre pocket. Now he's left with a simple 8 ball. Down it goes, and Potts edges in front once again. He leads 4-3.
So Gareth Potts then with a crucial break to go 4-3 up, but that was nail-biting stuff, and really in a way Gareth was handed that chance because of what happened to Beaufils and the rest.
That's right. I mean, Gareth would be happy to be 4-3 up because Yannick's had a couple of chances to go probably 4-3 or 5-2 up, but
he took the rest because obviously he's worried about the possible foul, wasn't he, with hitting the red with his waistcoat. But he obviously not comfortable using the rest.
He never looked comfortable at all. When he first put the rest up, it was like something foreign in his hand. He didn't look like a snooker player holding the rest. And he didn't even get close with the yellow.
And that was the beginning of his troubles because Gareth Potts eventually going on to take the frame. But this was an expensive error.
That's right. I think with him looking so uncomfortable with the rest, he should have stretched over the table. He wasn't that close to the red.
But in fairness, he wasn't that close to making that pot, was he, really? I mean, it wasn't a very good shot at all. And it's been quite a high-standard match so far.
Yeah, we're only talking about 1 or 2 mistakes out of 7 frames, so it's a good standard.
OK.
Beaufils breaking us off now, frame number 8. He trails by the odd one. Be looking for a ball off this. And that's not the ball he was hoping for, the cue ball.
One visit.
And what's that now, Sean? Is
Open
it's
tail.
not. It is a foul shot, but it's
Time
not
running.
2 visits, is it, from the break?
No, it's what's called a non-standard foul, Tony, where you only get 1 visit with cue ball in hand. And it's an interesting little point as well. That cue ball must be behind the line. We've had 1 or 2 instances in the qualifying rounds with some of the newer teams. Not quite sure about that rule. And I was asked a couple of times during the previous week about the cue ball, where it must be. The point of contact must be behind the line. It cannot be on the line. Otherwise, that would have been a foul back to the opponent.
And if he
Yellow
broke
ball's in
from
play.
on the line, would that be a foul in 2 visits or 1 visit?
It would be a foul on 2 visits, Tony, because that's a standard foul.
He's going to try and move the black out here, Potts. Played it very well. And all of a sudden, the Englishman is now dictating things out on the table.
No, you notice as well, he's just picked the pace up a little bit as well, Tony.
We're just checking his route. It's Gareth Potts. Perfectly onto the yellow, into the right-hand centre now. And he's going to be playing the yellow now into the top left-hand corner. Guaranteed position as long as he doesn't drag the white back on his next yellow. In fact, he's changed his mind and going for the middle. Be playing the one down the bottom left-hand corner now.
Yeah, I think
And this is looking ominous for Beaufils.
I think he may have just been a bit concerned about getting his position on the black. So he's obviously decided this is the route for him.
Lovely strike of the cue ball there. Very firm indeed down that rail. Simple stuff now for him to do. It's going to be a simple 8 ball. And that's 3 in a row for Potts. He leads by 5 frames to 3.
So just about the halfway mark then in this third quarter final here in Blackpool between the Frenchman Yannick Beaufils and England's Gareth Potts. It's advantage to Potts at the moment, but only just. Let's see what happens now as we return to the action with Sean Baker and Tony Holgate.
Needs a big split here, does Beaufils. Well, he fairly clattered into them, but again, the break is now
Open
starting to
table.
desert Yannick Beaufils.
It's a pity that Yannick didn't pot any balls now. It's starting to be critic actually. The red seems to be quite good, but I don't think he's got any start actually. I don't think Gareth had any start on that.
Well, you see the break once again. A lot of topspin on the cue ball, sending it forwards.
I think that's helped him in the end because it's left it, as Lauren said, he's not left himself an easy first opening pot here. That's a fantastic
Yellow
shot.
ball's in play.
It's a great shot from Gareth there, taking that yellow into the top left-hand pocket.
Well, that shows the confidence that the man has got now. He knocked in that ball like it wasn't there, length of the table.
And this is what Gareth will start to do now. He'll start to flow around the table. In a similar vein to what Chris Mellon does. Once he's on a roll, he just seems to flow around the table, and it's just frame after frame. It's relentless stuff.
Well, just how straight was his cue in there, Gareth Potts? Straight back, straight forward,
30
never moved
seconds.
at all on his cue.
And now it seems that he just cleared the black ball in the middle pockets.
Yeah, that's a very good spot there, Lauren. Black ball is now available in the centre pocket. He's making life easier for himself as he goes round the balls. He's not landed in an ordered position there. May well be forced to take on that yellow either gently into the centre pocket, but it's very, very tight, or even length of the table. Not sure if he can get to the yellow at the bottom. If he can, that's his only ball.
I don't think that ball will go in the middle pocket, Tony. I think he's going to have to take it up the rail, and that's what he's going to do now. This is a big shot here for Gareth. Potts this, you should see him take the frame, and I think he's got that. That's perfect. That is
Absolutely brilliant there from Potts. That's 2 big long shots he's knocked in, and just look at this. It just glided up the rail into that pocket.
It was an excellent shot there, because what can sometimes happen with those shots, they can just drift a little bit on the nap of the table. But it's a very fast table out there, and he's played a great shot.
Well, now he's on the yellow at the bottom of the table. He's going to drop this in and play the last 2 balls into that right-hand centre pocket. He's got a choice now. He can actually run through and play the black into the left-hand centre, which I think he'll do. And now Gareth Potts is on a roll. One-way traffic now here in Blackpool as Potts knocks in another black. That's now 5 frames in a row. He's now burst in to a 7-3 lead against Beaufils.
7th frame, Gareth Potts to break, leading by 7 frames to 3.
Where's the young man from Stoke-on-Trent breaking off frame 11. He's got himself into a 4-frame lead now. He's going to be hard to stop. And just look at the break now. Potts
Red ball potted.
is absolutely flying.
Red ball's in play.
He's made 2 red balls there, Tony, on the break. And looking at this, he will probably take reds, I think, as well.
Well, it's Gareth Potts. There's never been a truer thing to say. Potts by name, Potts by nature.
Yeah, I think he'll hear his friends. Ooh, his waistcoat is extremely close to that yellow. It would have been a foul there if that waistcoat had touched the yellow. And he's missed the red as well.
Yellow ball's in play.
Well, that was an unbelievable miss. So I think he was conscious that the waistcoat was quite close to the ball, and I think he rushed his shot a little bit.
Yeah, you can't see there. He could be sort of above the ball, but it's certainly extremely close to it. I'm assuming the referee, Kevin, we couldn't see him in the shot there, was close to the action, obviously paying close attention to that.
Well, it's got to be Hardler on now for Beaufils, because he's had a lot of time sat in his chair to think about what's before him. You know, how's he really going to affect his mind now?
Well, you're right, but at the same time, there's no doubt that Yannick stayed focused, and actually he's got a good chance here to maybe come back in the game and break a little bit out of the Gareth pace, you know.
I mean, does Beaufils, you know, is he a good comeback man, or does he collapse, like, you know, when he gets 3 or 4 frames behind?
No, it never collapsed. Really, really strong player, actually. Always stay focused, always until the end of the game, pretty much, till the last ball.
He's a very dogged character, Beaufils. There you see, didn't go for the pot there. Decided to try and just block that bottom left-hand corner. Try not to leave Gareth anything easy. The only option he really has got is a very thin cut into the bottom corner, and that's a tough shot.
It looks like that's a shot he's taking on, Tony. I'm surprised, but...
Well, there's just nothing else there. And just look at that pot there from Gareth. Brilliant shot.
Yeah, that was a fantastic shot, and he's landed quite nicely here. Again, I should imagine you'll see him take this frame out here. Put himself into an 8 frames to 3 lead.
Just look how long he stayed down in his cue there, Gareth Potts. I mean, the cue ball was nearly all the way around the table before he actually got up. And for anybody watching at home, the young players that are just thinking about starting to play, the cue action and the stance of Gareth Potts is one to be followed.
Yeah, like I say, as I said earlier in the commentary, Tony, I think he modelled himself very much on Lee Kendall in the early days, but he's found his own style now. And I think it's a bit the other way now, that Lee Kendall's trying to model himself on Gareth.
He's landed a bit awkward there. Played the plant, length of the table. Did exactly what he's supposed to do, but the cue ball finding its way right next to that yellow ball. He's going to have to go into the centre pocket with his next shot. Just got to be very careful here. If he was to make this red into the centre a little bit too thin, he could cannon both of those yellows up at the top left-hand corner.
Yeah, and that's always a dangerous thing. So you're in no control there where the cue ball or where one of those yellows could finish up. He's actually looking to take the one top right first.
Well, this is a lot tougher. You can see it's not right over the pocket, that red. This has to be hit correctly. And there you see, he's hit it too thick. And just look at the yellows now. Beaufils must have thought it was the end of that frame and he was out like a jack in a box. As we just have another look at that red. Had to be hit very thin, and you can see he just came across the middle of the red ball and into the jaws.
I think that was the result of playing that plant, Tony. It's always a dangerous thing when you're playing a plant. The ball that's not going to be potted, you're not quite 100% sure where it's going to finish up. And Yannick's not played the best of shots there.
He's still in not bad position though. He's got the yellow at the top of the table. And he needs to get his frame to stop the rot.
Yeah, I mean, if Gareth had taken this frame, put himself in an 8-3 lead, he's just one away from a place in the semi-finals.
Well, Beaufils is going to drag the cue ball back 3 or 4 inches
30
here.
seconds.
Slight bit of right hand side you can see there on the cue ball, just to come across the table. Now again it boils down to which way you prefer. If you're feeling confident, you knock in the yellow that's to the right of the black as we look into that corner pocket and screw it back. If you're not so confident, you play the little plant down the rail. This is going to tell a story. Now you see Beaufils going for the latter. Refused the longer pot.
You see what I said there, Tony? I mean, it's a similar situation to the shot that Gareth played there. That yellow is not over the pocket now. All right, it's not in a bad position, but Yannick's just got to make sure he gets this shot right now.
Well, he's got to take the yellow now into the right-hand centre, but the cue ball's always going to be travelling away from black and yellow in that area. So his next putt after this is going to be a long one. And as you can see where Gareth Potts' 2 reds are, you can't afford to miss it. In fact, he's playing a screw shot. Now this is dangerous. This is going with pace. Yellow could jump out the pocket
30
here.
seconds.
Does not want to catch any part of the jaw. And didn't he play that well? Could have done with coming a bit further though.
Yeah, I say this is not an easy shot now because he's got to get. Just looks like that yellow's off the cushion a little bit, which makes the shot slightly easier. So he's perhaps not in such a bad position as we thought.
Foul.
Again. Oh,
2 visits.
And there you see the referee's called the foul. The waistcoat has touched the red ball, and it's now 2 visits to Gareth Potts with a simple finish.
there's a
Kevin
referee.
Armitage, jolly on the spot there.
Yeah, that just shows the beauty of being in exactly the right position there. The referee's good positioning, and he's in there straight away and spotted it.
Well, Gareth Potts now, he's not going to need his extra visit on this black, and this will put him 1 away from the semi. Down it goes. Potts continues his run, 6 frames in a row now. He leads Beaufils 8-3. Knows exactly what he's got to do now. He needs to win all 6 remaining frames to keep his dream alive of lifting this year's 888.com World 8-Ball Pool Championship crown. One mistake will cost him. Well, he's made
Red ball potted.
a couple of reds off the break. In fact, just the 1 red.
They've not split particularly kindly here though, Tony, so I'm not quite sure what he's going to decide to do. He might have to take the reds just to have so it's not an open table.
Actually, I wonder if that red ball in the bottom left corner goes in the corner, because if it does, he will probably draw back and maybe
Yellow ball nominated.
clear the
30 seconds.
other red balls in the middle. Try to go for the clearance.
Well, there you see
No,
the red is completely stuck behind the yellow. So he's opted to take yellows, but he needs to not want in to be on them.
That's a great
Yellow
shot
ball's
that
in
is
play.
from Yannick. He's not finished perfect by any means, but he certainly got himself out of a bit of a hole there, because if he'd have missed that, as you say, he could have been in deep trouble as he's 8-3 down. One mistake is going to cost him a place in the world semi-final here.
Well, it's a big ask of the Frenchman. And this will be the biggest comeback, I think, of his life if he should progress to the semi-final.
Yeah, but if you remember,
30
Tony, from a
seconds.
couple of years ago, it won't be the biggest comeback of the tournament. If you remember, I think it was 3 years ago, Lee Kendall was 8-3 up against Phil Harrison in the quarterfinals, and he's come back and he's won every frame and beat Lee Kendall 9-8. I'm sure Lee won't mind me reminding him of that one.
Red ball's in play.
Anyway, Yannick Beaufils playing the containing shot there. Try not to leave Potts anything. All he's got is a long red into the top right hand corner. And if he knocks this in, it's still hard work for Gareth Potts. But he has got that cushion. What a great shot there from Potts.
Fantastic shot there. Like you say, he's still not got anything easy from here, though.
Well, he's a man on a mission, Gareth Potts. And we'll have another look at this. Phenomenal pot into the top left-hand corner. Just easy its way up the table. Now, has he left a gap? Will the yellow pass in the bottom right-hand corner? If it will,
I think it will, Tony. I think it will.
Beaufils will have a chance. If not, oh, just look how tight that is. I don't think he can get to the yellow enough to actually make contact to knock it in. It will go past that red. But the yellow seems just a bit too far forward and close to the red on the right-hand side as well.
And what you tend to find sometimes on these tables, Tony, you can get it into that knuckle and it will just flick the red out. But it has got to be absolutely spot on.
Well, if he's going to attempt to play it now, this shot will determine whether Beaufils stays in the tournament for a bit longer. Because if he double kisses that red and knocks it in, it will be the end for him.
Even if he misses, Tony, I think if it doesn't go in, I think you'd see Gareth come back to the table and probably finish the match.
30 seconds.
Well, he didn't knock the red in, but Potts is now in a driving seat and he knows it.
I tell you what, he's left Gareth in an absolute perfect position. He couldn't have put that cue ball in a better position, I don't think, for Gareth, because he's moved that red out of there and he's left him the red into the top right hand pocket. He's just draw back for the one in the middle. And he's missed it. I can't believe it. That's unbelievable.
Well, he hit that one too thin. On the cut, you can see the way it went up the rail. Well, too thin there. Just wonder, sometimes the last frame, the one you want to get to win the match, can always be the hardest one to get.
I tell you what, having seen that again, Tony, I'm not convinced he did overcut it. I mean, it has hit the far jaw, but it's come back and I just don't know how it hasn't dropped. It's right on the edge of the pocket, that is. I mean, you watch this,
30
look.
seconds.
You
Yeah,
know,
he's a good 2 inches away from the rail, Sean. I mean, it's caught the far jaw. Some of the tables, I mean, TV tables in the past have had big pockets where, you know, we saw in the black earlier that Gareth Potts knocked and he hit the cushion halfway down. But with the pace, he didn't hit it slowly. Maybe a bit slower, it might have just slid into the pocket. But Yannick there tried to cover the pocket with the double. He's played it too heavy. And again, he's left Potts with a chance to finish this match.
yeah, he just got that little. The awkward one was that red that's next to the yellow. I'm not sure if he can put it into the left-hand middle pocket from the right-hand corner here. If he knocks this in, can he get on an angle to knock that red into the middle? I'm not sure he can. He's actually played there to cannon out. That's a lovely shot. That's perfect. And it's finished next to the other red, but they will both pot. So I don't see any problem there for Gareth.
Well, the only problem is position. He'd ideally like to be on that red ball, right behind it down that rail. Now he's got to play a thinnish cut, come across, but there's a black and yellow in the way, so I feel that he's going to maybe have to take either the ball into the top right-hand corner or maybe one of the reds into the right-hand centre.
Yeah, I think the bottom one of those two reds will probably go into that corner pocket.
30 seconds.
Into the middle pocket, rather, but no, he's electing to stretch down. Again, Kevin Armitage, our referee's in there, very close watching that, and he's potted it.
Well, we know where he's going to go now. He's going to play the one over the pocket and try and bring the cue ball down by the centre pocket on the right-hand side. If he gets anywhere near that middle pocket, the match is over. Another inch would have been better. When he cuts this red, he's going to just make contact with the second one. Played it well, and Potts now can pot this one into left-hand middle, bring the cue ball off the top rail. He's just looking at his path. Cue ball off the top rail, back down the table, and black in the bottom right-hand corner. And there's Angie, his girlfriend, and she'll be willing her man on. He's just taking a bit of extra time, a bit of extra care.
Yeah, he's just composing himself here. He knows this is a big shot.
"30 seconds."
Well, he's canted into the yellow, but he's been a bit fortunate. And he's landed perfectly onto the black. This black ball for a place in the semi-final. It's there, and Potts is through. Great performance from the man from Stoke-on-Trent. He's beaten Yannick Beaufils by 9 frames to 3.
So an impressive victory in the end then for Gareth Potts. He's gone through 9-3. Lee Kendall watching the action with me. That was good stuff from him.
Yeah, he played very well. He's got his break working in the second session of the match, so he'll be very pleased how he played out there today.
He was a little fortunate because Yannick just gave him a couple of chances when he needed them, and in the end he took them and he made the Frenchman pay.
Well, to be fair to Gareth, you just take your own chances. I mean, you hope your opponent makes mistakes, and that's all you can do. Take your chances and progress.
But he looked nice and solid throughout, Gareth, didn't he? He didn't really get too down. He played at a steady tempo. 1 or 2 things didn't work, but he kept going, and in the end he got the reward.
That's right. He's probably missed 2 balls in the match, and he'll be not too displeased about that.
So he is safely through now then to the semi-finals. Let's take a check then, shall we, on the situation at the moment. Chris Melling is through, Phil Harrison is through 9-8 just against Darren Appleton, and now Gareth Potts moves through to the semi-finals, having put out the Frenchman Yannick Beaufils. Next up it'll be Jason Twist against Keith Brewer. So there we are, that's it. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's been fascinating stuff. More great stuff to come from Blackpool. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.